life in the United States is profoundly changing, is profoundly different than it was even 6 months ago. Because we do now live in a country that has an authoritarian leader in charge. We have a consolidating dictatorship in our country. And it sounds melodramatic to say it, I know. But just go with that for a minute, right? Think in melodramatic terms.
That was, of course, the cross-dressing Rachel Maddow on MSDNC TV. They recently cut her pay from $30 million a year to $25 million a year. She does one night a week. 25 million, that's $5 million a night, a weeknight, you know. Weekends are free. They slashed her pay from $30 million a year to $25 million a year. Now, and it's the authoritarian thing. The Democrats, I gotta check myself here. These people are anti-civilizational. They are fascists. They are pathological liars. Rachel Maddow, I didn't even know that one was coming. I haven't even heard that one before. That was her last night. That's NBC News. What is we are an authoritarian country. They're looking for shooting. The Democrat Party is pushing more. Again, Donald Trump's at the White House today. He's paying out of his own pocket and getting people that he knows to contribute money to build a $300 million ballroom that will be added to the East Wing, the West Wing, I think, of the White House, where the Oval Office is and so on. A ballroom, and it looks like it's in a palace, and the Democrats are attacking him for that. And that means the news media, too, attacking him for it. And he's this morning he was up on the roof of the White House walking around, and the press was outside, and they were yelling at him, "What are you doing walking around on the roof?" And what did he say? "I'm just taking a walk. Just taking a walk." And he waved at them and smiled. You know, they've got Teddy Roosevelt in the White House, and they're too stupid to have a good time with it. And, you know, the economy's great, and he's making peace all over the place. He should be getting the Nobel Peace Prize. And the vicious, filthy, corrupt, cross-dressing news media, they are attacking him with every breath they take. What is going so wrong? Whereas Joe Biden got a free bath and a hot oil rub down in the hot tub every day for 4 years, while they attack like they're ISIS, like they're jihadis against Donald Trump and the Trump White House. And the Democrats are still trying to incite more violence against him, because if he really is Hitler, which a Democrat member of Congress called him just yesterday, Jasmine Crockett, who the media loves, and they want they want her to date their daughters. That's right, they want her to date their daughters. That's what I said. Jasmine Crockett calling him Timu Hitler, and a piece of beep, and saying, "We will beat you down," doing the third world ghettoization of the Congress of the United States, because, and it doesn't matter how many private schools a girl goes to, when you're a Democrat, you got to racialize and divide everything along racial lines, because that's what they do. Yeah, they expect Democrats to be nice. All right, well, stop shooting people. How about that? That'd be a good start. You know, really, you need me up there in the Senate or something. I'll raise hell and pound the table. And I'll go on Rachel Maddow. Rachel Maddow, indeed. You kidding me? And what she, Rachel Maddow, is we live in an authoritarian country. He's an author. I hadn't even heard that soundbite before. Michael surprised me with that from last night on Rachel Maddow's now $25 million a year salary show.
We do now live in a country that has an authoritarian leader in charge.
Really? Must be
We
killed.
have a consolidating dictatorship in our country.
Dictatorship, authoritarian dictatorship. That's what we have. This is the rhetoric that gets people killed. And NBC News does this. The NBC television network does this. $25 million a year for that woman was $30 million a year, and then they're sexists, misogynists, so they stole $5 million a year from her. Aren't they amazing? Yes, they are. They're the communists. They kill people by the millions, and they steal everything. And the Democrat Party is not liberal. The Democrat Party is leftist. They're no good at all. Joe Scarborough, you know him. He's what happened to that young girl that was working in his office in Florida? The young girls often fall when nobody's around and hit their heads on desks and die, because that was kind of an unusual set of circumstances. What? And when you're and Joe Scarborough, he used to be a Republican member of the House of Representatives. Then MSDNC hired him, and I don't know if they all just smoke fentanyl all night long or what they do, but his brain obviously doesn't work. And of course he's married to, Mika, a son of Zbigniew Brzezinski, Jimmy Carter's brilliant foreign policy guru, who gave Iran to the Ayatollahs. That was a good idea. And now she is a leading journalist, and she has a mind meld with the people in North Korea, doesn't
Mika, you've got a mind meld with some people in North Korea.
Not just some people, the key people. Isn't that amazing? And Mika, Mika, she knows what the role of the news media is. The role of the news media is to control the thoughts of the American public.
He could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think, and that is our job.
Yeah, and that is our job, to control what people think. She does have a mind meld with the people in North Korea. They've got commies all over the place. And here's Joe Scarborough, who is not a good person, not even close. Joe Scarborough, he's got a TV show on MSDNC.
The short-sightedness of it is this. If Texas achieves what they want to achieve, then California will go back.
Already done
and then they
go back.
Will draw up even more rigged lines that will help Democrats.
Even more.
New York State will do it. And who knows? Maybe then Florida decides. I mean, it really is.
What a moron.
It's an idiotic thing to do.
Well, was it idiotic when Democrats in Massachusetts did it? Was it idiotic when Democrats in Maryland did it? Democrats in California have already done it. The Democrats in Illinois have already done it. And the fake outrage from this fraud, this charlatan. We got a lot of charlatans. They have Al Charlatan, for one thing. And Joe Scarborough, he is, this has never happened before. Now that the Republicans have done it once, we're going to have to punch back and beat you down. You're authoritarian. This is a dictatorship. When you've got Hitler, Timu Hitler, and authoritarianism, and this rhetoric, will we really be surprised the next time another Democrat shows up with a rifle and starts shooting people? We are having Democrats commit suicide by setting themselves on fire all over the country, blowing themselves up, suicide attacks. One Democrat self-immolated outside the New York City courthouse where Donald Trump was on trial on trumped-up charges, no pun, and the Democrat showed up, drenched himself in gasoline, and set himself on fire while news reporters watched and then went and got lunch. And he died. He killed himself. Honestly, a Democrat self-immolated at the Supreme Court about 3 years ago. That's where the self-immolations really started for the Democrats. That started to make it trendy. And he self-immolated at the Supreme Court because it was Earth Day, because he didn't want people polluting the air. So naturally, low IQ theater, he set himself on fire. He came in from Colorado and killed himself by setting himself on fire for Earth Day. Me, I once planted a tree on Earth Day. I never self-immolated on Earth Day, though. The Democrats. Suicide attacks by Democrats. And now the Democrats gerrymander the hell out of everything. They do it for years on end. The news media ignores it. Texas says, hey, you guys have been doing this for years. I think maybe we'll take a look at a little bit of that action ourselves. And now it's a dictatorship. It's authoritarianism. It's the end of democracy. You guys choked democracy to death in the cradle, with your breakaway republic of the Confederate States of America. You, the Jim Crow law people, the Democrats, and honestly, Joe Scarborough.
It's just stupid, and worse than that, it's just not right. I mean, gerrymandering is just, it is so anti-democratic, and yet both sides have been doing it for a long time, and it's time for us to stop it, and this is not going to accomplish anything.
All right, so they steal Illinois, they steal Massachusetts, they steal Maryland, they steal California, they steal doubtless Minnesota and numerous other states. Not that these people are ever going to cover the news, because they don't. They hit the news in the back of the head with a shovel and bury it in a shallow grave outside of Las Vegas. That's what the Democrats do when you give them the power of the fourth estate. They're quite remarkable, these people. And the Democrats been gerrymandering the hell out of everything. And it's the old, well, now that you've done it. Well, I got to tell you, Greg Abbott has to come out and with a very clear and concise table-pounding statement and start listing the states that Democrats have gerrymandered the heck out of and secured all or virtually all of the House seats in the U.S. Congress, stealing, burning our democracy to the ground, firebombing it, shooting it with rifles, which the Democrats are famous for doing. 4 U.S. presidents have been assassinated. 3 of those were Republican presidents, including the first Republican president ever, Abraham Lincoln, because he freed the slaves. A Democrat shot him in the head and murdered him at a theater, and the Democrats celebrated. And 2 more Republican presidents assassinated, and the only Democrat president ever assassinated was assassinated by a communist or maybe the CIA. Either way, it's the Democrat Party, no matter how you slice it. Aren't they amazing? Yes, they are. And I want to get to Zohran Mamdani because he's a communist, isn't he? And a racist and an anti-Semite and anti-American. And then the Democrats attending a conference for communist left-wingers, literally sponsored by a group that calls for the total destruction of capitalism. The total destruction of capitalism. And the Democrat Party, including the squad members, they're all over that meeting. Aren't they amazing? Yes, they are. And this woman, a Democrat congresswoman, U.S. Congress from Illinois, who is originally from Guatemala, and she's railing about how she's more Guatemalan than she's loyal to Guatemala and not the United States of America. I'll get to that, too. But right now, let's go to a telephone call before I get to all that excellent audio. Let's go to Jim, calling from Chicago, Illinois, listening on the great WLS. Jimmy, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Thank you, Chris. Great show. Love your show, radio and television.
Thank you.
Terrific.
Thank you very much.
And so what my concern is, we have these Texans who have abandoned their state, run to Illinois, and being sheltered by our governor, J.B. Pritzker, who at the Democratic convention called Democrats to fight Republicans every step of the way. But yet we're sheltering them here in our state.
Yeah, well, their rhetoric is always incendiary. It's always filled with violent images from these idiot Congress people like Jasmine Crockett and Al Green. And look, Chuck Schumer inciting violence against the Supreme Court. And then, fortunately, federal law enforcement, who the Democrats want to defund, prevented a multiple assassination attack on the Supreme Court that the Democrat Party incited. The Democrat Party incites violence against President Trump. He's shot, literally grazed across the head, and the Democrat Party then dials up the rhetoric. It's the rhetoric against the police, leading to unprecedented numbers and levels of attacks on the police across the country, who the Democrats want to defund. And you're right, Pritzker, who inherited his billions from people that actually built something and created something, his grandfather and his father, perhaps, but not him. The Democrat Party should it be disbanded altogether, Jim?
Yes, it should be. It should be outlawed, not disbanded, outlawed. and also along those lines of Democrats who are out there killing.
Yeah.
There's the Margaret Sanger Award.
Yeah.
Well, how about the John Wilkes Booth Award, going from Lincoln forward for Democrats that have shot and killed or wounded Republicans?
Yeah. Yeah, they shot at Gerald Ford. Ronald Reagan was shot. Donald Trump was shot. The only Democrat shot was John F. Kennedy, shot by a communist, or the CIA. Jim, thank you very much, man. Thanks for paying attention and for making sense and for not being a liberal Democrat idiot, crazy person. Have there been any self-immolations? Jasmine, have you seen any self-immolations today? We're keeping our eyes peeled. That always sounded painful, didn't it? For Democrats, self-immolating today could happen. They might see Trump on TV and have to self-immolate. You know that the all-new third-generation Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifier has finally arrived. It builds on the incredible success of the previous generations, which earned 5-star reviews all over Al Gore's amazing internet. This new Thunderstorm uses 2 brilliant technologies that studies have demonstrated help to kill up to 99.9% of bacteria and viruses floating in the air in your home, in your office. It also removes dust and pet dander and smoke and all kinds of stuff from the air that you breathe, that your people in your household breathe, and it gets rid of any odor, all with no filters to have to buy and replace again and again. The Eden Pure Thunderstorm will help get rid of any stinky smell, guaranteed. Orders from trash cans and cigarette smoke and liberal protesters and liberal family members, musty basements, no match for the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. Any smell will disappear in a matter of seconds. And right now, you can save $200 on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for a whole home protection. Put one in your basement, your teenager's room, any place you like to have clean, fresh air, the kitchen. All you have to do is go to EdenPureDeals.com. EdenPureDeals.com. Use the code CHRIS3, CHRIS and the number 3, to save $200 American on 3 thunderstorms. That's EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is CHRIS3. I had a lot more crazy Democrat stuff to get to. They're kind of like communists, and they want to destroy capitalism and America too. They call themselves Democrats. Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at WashingtonTimes.com/Chris. And I've got the Communist Democrat Party coming up, and they get more and more communistic. We got them meeting in, where are they? Guatemala, with a group that wants to destroy capitalism. We need to end capitalism, live in a post-capitalist society. A woman who is a Democrat member of Congress from Illinois, whose loyalties are to Guatemala. And because you asked for it. And I was just talking about self-immolations. We've not had a self-immolation because you asked for it in the United States, but a couple of days ago in Greece, one of my favorite places in the world, a journalist self-immolated. She self-immolated, and that's because, and she died. I'll explain. The Democrat Party is the central threat to democracy on the planet Earth. They're here to destroy and steal. The Washington Times, the great Washington Times, their lead story today out of Texas. Democrats dodging redistricting vote threatened with arrest, ouster. Abbott says runaway lawmakers abandoned their duty. The Texas Rangers and the state law enforcement, they don't have law enforcement authority in Illinois, so they can't arrest the escaped lawmakers, the runaway lawmakers. You know, the Democrats back in the day of runaway slaves, it was the Democrats chasing them, the Republicans helping them. That should be noted from time to time. Let's get back to the idiot Democrats. Oh, wait, I haven't mentioned the... I did mention, but I need to explain. Journalist dies after self-immolation at Capitol's Zepion. It's the Zepion Gardens in Athens. A 67-year-old journalist who set herself on fire at Zapion Gardens in Athens, has died from her injuries. It has been announced. The incident unfolded when the woman named Avra Grigeru, doused in flammable substance, doused herself in a flammable substance and set herself alight in full view of bystanders, members of the Presidential Guard, who happened to be nearby, intervened quickly. You know, law enforcement, people brave, the people that run toward the fire, toward the danger. The people the Democrats are hostile toward and want to defund and to demonize and vilify. So the woman, Avra Grigoro, doused herself in flammable substance, then set herself on fire, full view of bystanders. Presidential Guard happened to be nearby, intervened quickly, managed to extinguish the flames, allowing her to be transported to a hospital. Despite the medical team's efforts, the woman succumbed to her burns on Thursday afternoon following a brief hospitalization. Now, a veteran reporter, the woman, a veteran reporter, Avra was a veteran reporter, had worked for numerous Greek publications, including Ethnos and a couple of other, the broadcaster ERT, the Hellenic Union of daily newspaper journalists, and they announced her death, praising Grigero's professionalism, integrity, journalistic ethics. She is survived by her son, and according to the reporting, she felt the need to self-immolate and kill herself in a very public setting because she felt that she was financially strapped. She thought that she was poor. She's a news reporter, and she had a son, and she killed herself by setting herself on fire. And according to publications, they said it was a financial decision. Now, this is a very socialistic country where everybody's taken care of by the state. And apparently it didn't apply. Didn't apply here. Terrible, horrible thing. 67-year-old woman. But there you have it. Your Democrat Party. They're going to bring us that kind of socialism here because then everybody will be provided for. And agree. All right, speaking of communists, let's go to Zoran Mamdani, who is a jihadi, anti-American, anti-Western, anti-capitalist, and the Democrat Party's choice to be the mayor of New York City, our most populous and perhaps most important city in many ways, most important city. Pretty amazing stuff. Zoran Mamdani was having a powwow, if you will, with Elizabeth Warren, also known as Pocahontas, because she pretended to be, of course, Cherokee Indian, right? Cherokee Indian for all those years. It helped her in her career at the Harvard University. The New York Post has a great story on it today. The cover picture of Zoran Mamdani and Elizabeth Pocahontas Warren. And the headline is African American meets Native American. Now, Zoran Mamdani, as a very small child, lived in Uganda because his radical extremist college professor father and his radical extremist left-wing filmmaker mother decided Uganda was the place to live. You know, Idi Amin, the cannibal leader of Uganda, had been in charge just a short time earlier. And Zoran Mamdani then lived for a very brief period of time with his parents in South Africa, and they undoubtedly did some damage there, then moved to the Upper West Side of Manhattan by the time Zoran Mamdani was 7 years old. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm African. No, you're not. And Elizabeth Warren, Harvard University professor that they trotted out every now and then to go, hey, how are you? Hi, how are you? Hey, we've got a Native American professor here. Her name is Elizabeth Warren. She's the whitest person you've ever seen.
Hold on a sec. I'm going to get me a beer.
Yeah, for the first time in her life, she's going to go get a beer. That's what's going on there. Isn't that amazing? All right, so let's go to Zoran Mamdani and Elizabeth Warren. They're standing together, and they don't like America. They don't like you. They're racists. They're leftists. They're ridiculous clowns of of people. And here is Zohran Mamdani.
We know that this is all happening within a larger national context where Donald Trump is seeking to make it even more expensive to raise a family in this country. It is our responsibility to move beyond the broken politics of the past of our city and our state and start to offer an alternative across this country.
An alternative to capitalism, because that's the way to go. Far-left Senator Warren gushes over New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani as other high-profile Dems stay silent. Now, progressive, leftist, anti-American, anti-capitalist Elizabeth Warren, millionaire, of course. Elizabeth Warren heaped praise Monday on socialist mayoral contender Zohran Mamdani's steely focus on affordability, casting it as a winning path out of the political wilderness for Democrats. So that was Zohran Mamdani. Yeah, you know, New York is maybe the most expensive city, that in San Francisco. The more Democrats, the more expensive it is. I say we're going to fix that by destroying capitalism and creating a Greek-style welfare system where when things go wrong, you can self-immolate. I wonder if they paid for the self-immolation. Here is Pow-wow, Pocahontas Elizabeth Warren with the communist jihadi Mamdani.
I'm here because affordability is the central issue all over this country. And New York City is proof of that.
No, it's not.
When someone stands up and says, I will lead this city by making it more affordable. And here are my plans. For me, New York City is the place to start the conversation for Democrats on how affordability is the central issue, the central reason to be a Democrat.
What does that mean, affordability? Who's going to make things more affordable? How do you make things more affordable? Under Joe Biden, we had 9.1% inflation just a few historical minutes ago. But here's Pocahontas. She had this little powwow at this left-wing thing at the D.C. 37 Union Building to support his universal child care proposal. Everything will be universal. Everything will be free. Nobody will pay for it. Billionaires will pay for it, right? And then CNBC invited Elizabeth Warren on Pocahontas to be on a TV show with their anchorman, David Faber. And she said, well, we're just going to raise taxes on somebody else, and she doesn't live in New York City, unless she's got a third home there or something, which she might. You know, when that idiot, it was the Harvard president who resigned, right? And they said, but you can stay on as a professor. We'll pay you $930,000 a year to not teach a class. They should have all their money taken away to feed the poor. Well, they got $53 billion endowment at Harvard. Take it away to feed illegal alien gang members. Elizabeth Warren on CNBC with David Faber.
What Zohran is saying is I want people to be able to afford to live in New York City. That's what keeps it a vibrant city. That's what makes people want to live
Nobody
here.
disagrees with that, Senator, but raising taxes in order to do it?
Oh,
why is that
goodness.
the answer?
Listen to this.
Oh, dear. Are you worried that billionaires are going to go hungry?
No, I'm worried that they're going to leave and spend their money elsewhere.
You know, they've threatened to do that over and over and over.
And they have. They've left.
And they have. They've left. You know, you don't have to be well-informed to be a Democrat governor. You just have to bloviate. I'm keeping it clean. Just bloviate, which is what Democrats are good at, bloviating from their blowholes. And, man, I got to tell you, you might find a golf ball wedged in her blowhole. And then the Seinfeld reference. And then the Democrats, they've got another communist effort, and this one is pretty amazing, I've got to say. They've got a Democrat member of the House of Representatives named Delia Ramirez, and she is originally from Guatemala. She was born in the United States to two illegal alien parents now, she said she was born in the U.S., right? So, in Chicago. But she still says, I'm from Guatemala, and my loyalties are to Guatemala, even though she was born in the United States to her illegal alien criminal parents, who are probably child sex traffickers and drug traffickers, and 40 years later, probably still don't speak English. They're Democrats. They're here to undo the United States of America. And so she, Illinois Democrat Representative Delia Ramirez, says at this crazy event, oh, yeah, I'm really not an American at all.
Porque yo soy guatemalteca con mucho orgullo, primero que soy americana.
Sure, that's naturally what I would say. Now, this event is in Guatemala, and the event that she and a bunch of other Democrats, like squad members, were at, the second annual Pan American Congress, leftist officials from all over North America and South America. Rashida Tlaib was there. Ayanna Pressley was there. Summer Lee, just a radical extremist. Jesus Gilberto Garcia and Delia Ramirez of Illinois. They're the hardcore left-wing people, all members of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, right? And the Hate Caucus, the Hate America Caucus. They're an amazing bunch. Progressive Caucus members, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, the left-wing gang. Now, what do we know about this gathering? Well, it's staged by a radical left-wing group called the Progressive International. And their goal, and you can find it on their website, is to eradicate capitalism. Eradicate capitalism. They describe capitalism as a virus, capitalism, which must be eradicated. That's their plan. Aren't they amazing? And these are Democrat members of the House of Representatives. No media will cover it. This one, I'm sorry, is this one in Mexico City or is this one in Guatemala? I think maybe this one's in Mexico City. There's the thing. Yeah, she's just, I'm with Guatemala, not with the United States of America. And her illegal alien parents gave birth to her in Chicago in the United States. That's still in the United States, right? Just amazing stuff. You're a Democrat party. They're really not on our side. House Dems trash America at radical summit in Mexico. I like to pronounce it with that authentic flair, like Mexico. Several left-wing American lawmakers traveled to Mexico City over the weekend to attend a summit aimed at challenging U.S. global dominance, anti-American communist summit, organized by director of an openly anti-capitalist and anti-American organization. Second annual Pan American Congress took place from Friday through Sunday in Mexico City, brought together leftist delegates from around the Americas, including Democrat lawmakers like Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib and others. And their goal is to eradicate capitalism and, of course, the United States of America. Now, gosh, look what I've done. You know what? Let's, because I want to get to Miranda Devine here and Tulsi Gabbard. And I want you to hear what Tulsi Gabbard is saying about the Democrat Party's conspiracy against President Trump from then-President Barack Hussein Obama, whose mentor was Frank Marshall Davis, a known member of the Communist Party. And Barack Obama made John Penitentiary-faced Brennan the CIA director, John Brennan, who voted for a fellow communist, Gus Hall, for the presidency of the United States. You see a pattern emerging here? Because I do. And Tulsi Gabbard has some findings on Miranda Devine, the great news reporter, journalist, with more on that. That's coming up. You may have seen yesterday the Attorney General of the United States, Pam Bondi, announced that James Comey, John Brennan, FBI, CIA, Clapper, DNI, took efforts to delegitimize Trump's 2016 victory. Kind of a big deal. Sources and Pam Bondi is announcing that a special investigation has begun. The grand jury will investigate Russiagate, all the criminality that from Barack Obama on down. Now, and my friend Jeff yesterday pointed out, boy, it better not be a D.C. grand jury. Otherwise, you guarantee that everyone walks. Tulsi Gabbard, she is wonderful, and she was a Democrat member of Congress about 3 years ago. She gave up on that party. She's talking about what they're finding out, the criminal activity from Obama on down.
This is the key that really blows the whole Obama, Hillary, Brennan, Clapper, Comey narrative out of the water, where they say that Russia aspired to help Trump get elected, or that Russia hacked the election in favor of Donald Trump, really trying to discredit President Trump's win.
Yes.
And give a big middle finger to the American people who had just voted him into office.
Yeah, and the corrupting, now that's third world. That's banana republic. That's dictatorial. That is authoritarian. That is the end of democracy. That's when we become a third world country. We cross the Rubicon into third world land, and it's all on the left. Now, the great Miranda Devine at the New York Post, which is expanding to California with the California Post because they're so successful, she's been following this all very closely.
They were not trying to tilt the scales in favor of Donald Trump and against Hillary Clinton. In fact, there is evidence to the contrary. Tulsi Gabbard says that the evidence that she's uncovered and declassified shows that, in fact, Moscow believed it was inevitable that Hillary Clinton would win the election. And they had a whole lot of negative, compromising information about Hillary Clinton, including about her supposed psychological problems, that they planned to withhold from before the election, but launch on her to ruin her presidency after the election.
Commies, that's what commies do. But if they thought it would defeat Hillary, they would have released it before the election. Isn't that amazing? The inevitable victory of Hillary Clinton, which is why in St. Petersburg I was able to get a Hillary Clinton stacking doll showing her as the next president of the United States, Miranda Devine.
As Tulsi Gabbard points out, it is crystal clear and logical that if Russia was trying to help Donald Trump, they would have dumped all their negative information before the election. And what this Russiagate lie did was discredit Donald Trump's 2016 win. It delegitimized his presidency, and it really sabotaged and crippled the rest of, most of his term.
Which was the goal of the Democrats. And, we just have the Communist Party voting CIA director, John Brennan, who was made CIA director by the Communist Party mentored Barack Hussein Obama. And now the Department of Justice launches grand jury probe into Obama officials' Russiagate role. The National Review with the story. And it's Audrey Fahlberg, been on my TV show on Newsmax. Wonderful, wonderful. And Haley Strack. Department of Justice convene a federal grand jury. It better not be in Washington, D.C. It better be someplace in America. Every grand jury in D.C. is corrupt as Moscow.